Sweet. So another week, another episode from myself and Pussy. We're called the Entrepreneur's Edge, a podcast where we hopefully can help you find your edge and have an edge over, especially if you're running a business, you're an entrepreneur, and wanting to learn a few things that we've learned over our time and how that could help you. So, yeah, I guess before getting into anything, bro, like, how you been? What's going on?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, today's Anzac Day. So
Mm.
this morning, me and the family started off the day by going to the dawn parade here in Pukekohe. It's always beautiful to acknowledge those who have fought for our country, our freedom, especially during World War One, and those who have given their lives. So yeah, it just made me reflect on, everything that I have. If it wasn't for what they did, would we be here and have what we have? So I'm just truly grateful. But yeah, hey, I'm feeling pretty good, man. I always get excited for these podcasts. I'm just ready to go, especially with today's topic.
Yeah, awesome, man. And yeah, just want to acknowledge yeah, Anzac Day as well. And power to everyone that got up early to make their way there. Um, I'm always up early because I've got two kids waking me up. So, both important aspects of alarms, I guess, to wake up to. But yeah, just yeah, good to honor the day. But yeah, the topic we're going to get into. So, me and Pasi have been talking and talking to others around, what could we talk into? And we do want to talk about things that are trending and things that are going on, but a lot of what I guess people are telling us and what we see as an opportunity to talk into is how people can actually win, and that's making money. And I think one of the topics we really wanted to talk to today was around offers and how to make an offer. Now, I'll kind of explain what an offer is in my layman term, and then maybe, Pussy, if you want to, you can kind of add to that. But what I consider an offer is what they call a value package. So just to kind of bring it back, because it depends on what business you're doing. You might be in product, or you might be running a service or a hybrid of it. Um, and I think when I first started business, I was all about, oh, I've got this thing, just sell the thing. And that could have been a product or a service. But what a value package is basically all the different components that put something together that makes it compelling for someone to buy. Okay, so kind of what those things are is like an outcome. Okay, so if you're, for myself, selling a service, it's what are we trying to achieve with someone. So that's one of it. Another thing is the components. So that could be the service, products, all that's inside of that. Another thing is the terms. How much does it cost to kind of pay for that thing that the value package that you're building, even the terms and all of that jazz. Another thing is around kind of what they call risk reversal. So we're talking about, do you have a warranty, a guarantee? That what you're building is going to be very helpful for someone. And then part of that is also the story, the positioning of that. Okay, who are you trying to communicate to? What is the story that gets them engaged and interested in that offer? So that's how I would define it, bro. Is there anything that you'd define it differently, or anything to add to that?
No, I think you nailed it on the head around those things, especially having a clear outcome. What's the benefit? What am I going to get from this? Like, put yourself in the shoes of the buyer or your target audience. Think about them. When you're offering them something, what's the value they're going to get from it?
Yeah.
Right? And then I love how you said about packaging it up in a story or delivering that value in the form of a story, because people obviously resonate with the story. With stories, you can, obviously talk about a problem, you can feel it as well. So hopefully you can trigger some of the emotions that these audience or the potential buyer will have.
Yeah.
Because the more feelings and emotions that they feel, the more drawn they will be to what the solution could be.
Hmm.
So it's more than just listing your service and this is what you offer, but I feel like there has to be an emotional a trigger to it as well. So that's where storytelling comes in handy.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting because when I started business, I had no idea what an offer is or what offer was. I just like, man, I got a service, I can help you, um, you know, pay for me. But I guess the reason why an offer is important is there's multiple reasons, but I guess in this day and age, right, there is many people offering potentially what you do, and it's about how do you kind of differentiate what you do compared to what someone else does. Because as we don't want to talk about it, but it's true. We are in competition with others, trying to get people's time, attention, and hopefully money. So if you can create a story around it, actually have things that are going to be helpful and going to lead to an outcome that they want, there's more possibility of them saying yes to you compared to someone just saying, their service, like Pasi said, and just listing it. Okay, like a good example could be like you're a personal trainer, right? Just going out and saying I'm a personal trainer. There's heaps of personal trainers. What makes you different? But I feel like I'm a personal trainer that helps dads that can lose 30 kgs in 12 weeks. Oh, that's exactly aligns to maybe what I want to achieve. So when we're talking about offers, that's what we're talking about, is about how you kind of share that story and how do you package things within it. So then it sounds, wow, actually that's something that I really want to be a part of. So I guess for yourself, bro, like have you seen offers where you're like, man, that's mean, or you've created offers where you're like, bro, that's so cool how or clever how they've like put that together and actually have shared that.
Yeah, well, I'll probably talk about my experience with you, not to be biased, but for those who don't know, Tyrone has a business called Inflow, and part of their service offering is obviously to help you automate and be more efficient with your lead generation, generating sales, and he does that very clever with things like email marketing, for example. So anyway, this is the first time that Tyrone took me through this. This is our first meeting, and pretty much just I've never heard too much about it, but just I wanted to hear him out. But what really stuck out to me was he laid the value out in a way that was easy to understand, so it was very clear. It was step by step, and I knew exactly what I would get in each of those steps.
Mm,
So for me, if I'm going to spend a bit of money, I need clarity and I need reassurance. And I feel like reassurance comes from clarity around what am I going to get from it as well. So I feel like because of that, I was willing to pay for it. I was like, it makes total sense. And even though you're a friend, like for me, I still have to make a clear decision before I spend money on anybody or anything. But because
mm.
you laid out the value in a way that was really easy to understand and it was step by step, I was sold.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate it. And I just want to say, everyone, I wasn't trying to set up so I could praise today, but I appreciate Pussy for sharing that. And yeah, I guess sharing an example of why this is important to create an offer, because ideally it's to hopefully create clarity and reasons to buy, right? So if you want people to give you money, if they can't clearly see how you add value to them, it's going to be very hard for them to part with their money, right? So I guess yeah, that's yeah, appreciate it, bro. And I guess for me too, like for you, oh well, for yourself actually, like creating offers and I guess giving it out there. Like, what's been your experience, bro? Like, because for me, I've created offers, and like I appreciate you saying created an offer for you that you saw clarity. I've had ones that have bombed and tanked too. So like, have you ever like done offers where you're like, man, I thought I had it all sussed, and then put it out there, and didn't really get the response I was hoping for.
Yeah, I've had experiences where people who wanting to sell things to me, and they might have an awesome offering, but the way that they deliver it verbally and
Mm,
emotionally doesn't connect with me or doesn't convince me. So I feel like you could have the best offer on paper and everything could make sense. But if you're not feeling it from the person, and I feel like there's also an element of that, like there is a
mm,
variable to closing a deal and getting sales across the line is the person who's actually selling to you.
yeah.
And it's the ability to tell the story, but also be energetic about it as well. Like you're just like, oh yeah, this is what you do. Then you do this. You push this button. Then it's like, bro, I'm gone. I'm gone. And that's where I feel like I'll give you an example, bro. When I worked in corporate, and I worked in two different corporate companies. My roles was in sales, and I looked after Auckland area, and I ended up being in one of the companies number one in the North Island, but number two overall. And then the second company, I ended up being the number one sales rep in the country. And that's and how they determine that it's not just around sales but coalface, which is they pretty much have a third party who go out and interview all your customers. So my customers were like foodstuffs, Woolworths, Countdown at the time, and they're asking like who's the best rep, what value do they add, etc., etc., to your business. And so I was number one. So what made me stand out from everyone else? Like everyone was selling shampoo, everyone was selling conditioner, everyone was selling shavers, everyone was selling V drink, oh, I mean energy drinks and this and that. You know, I mean like there were big players there in the market, like Coca-Cola. But what was it that made me stand out? And the value would be similar to others, but I feel like don't compete on price because
Mm,
you know if you're just like who's the cheapest, it ends up being a spiral to the bottom. No one wants to play that game or win that
yeah.
game, and that's where you really have to focus on adding value so the
Mhm.
customer is willing to pay because the value is just irresistible. But the
Yeah.
value, part of the, I'll give you an example, bro. Where one of my clients, and I had my sales manager follow me around too, and he thought it was quite clever. He ended up copying me. Um, One of my clients, we had to try and sell a single pack. Well, I already had a single pack of Vicks, you know, the nasal inhaler,
Yeah.
one of those. I already sold that in store. Now, the company that I worked for encouraged all the sales people to go out there and sell a twin pack. So, like two nasal inhalers, you know. So, but the customers already got one. Why do they need
Mm,
another product?
mm,
Why do they need to stock that on shelf? And customers are really tight about how much space they give you
yeah.
because space is money. So how was I going to convince this buyer? And this is where the story came in. And I said to the guy, he goes, Pussy, why do I need to buy that from you? I've already got the single. Why do I need to
Mm,
buy that? Or we have to get rid of one. I'm only going to keep one of them. I'm not going to stock both. I was like,
mm,
look, listen. You've got the single pack for those who obviously might not have big families and that, it's just for them. It's a little bit convenient. But then think about a husband and a wife or family. Like, you don't want to
mm,
be sharing that nasal inhaler with other people, especially if they're sick.
yeah.
Or imagine if you're in, you leave one at home and you got one in the car, or imagine having one for a friend that you could give to, a spare one.
Hmm. Hmm.
But anyway, I told it better at the time. But basically, I was saying imagine, and I told this story. And,
Yeah.
and I told about this pain point in the story, and then how we were going to solve that, and why we needed the one pack and the two pack. And I was able to get that in the store, bro. So
Mm.
I packaged the value in the form of a story, and that's what made me number one.
Yeah, cool, bro.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nah, thanks for sharing those examples, bro. And like that, like, I think you spoke around really two strong things there for me around like having belief in what you're selling. Um, it comes across, I don't know about anyone else out there, but you can just feel it. Like you can just feel that this is just a thing they're doing. And also if it feels like that, you kind of wonder, does it actually, can it actually do the thing that they're saying? So if you can't see belief and you don't have belief when you're selling, yeah, you can feel that. And most I feel like most people can just feel the energy when you're in those environments, especially when you're about to part money. You don't want to part with something that feels like it's not going to work for you. And then yeah, kind of just doubling down on that whole story element, right? Big part of this is about how to share the story. And I don't want to get it too confused with like trying to be over persuasive. Like you're not trying to like elaborate on some silly story. You're actually trying to figure out like, if this is a pain point of theirs, how can we make sure that this is going to meet their pain point? Because that's the same for all of us. You don't want to have something that doesn't work for us. But I'd like to say that if you're not aware of what their pain points is, like you're gonna struggle to even create an offer because you're just gonna be throwing a service in front of them, throwing a product in front of them that may not resonate with actually what they need, or it actually is something they really need, but they can't get it, they can't see it. Okay, so really understanding, in order to understand the story, is really understanding the customer or client that you're trying to pick up, and trying to make sure it marries in terms of helping them. So I totally get all of that. Um, and I guess for me too, like this whole thing around offer is pretty interesting for me, because I feel one of the challenges you get into is that I can be sometimes a perfectionist too. And when I first started in business, I was like, oh, I heard about offer, how to create an offer. So I started trying to just like, yep, I'll create it. But then I kind of just like, instead of talking to people about the offer, I just kept trying to create more, or trying to better the offer. So I think part of this whole offer development, like yes, it's about creating something that people are interested in. I listed 5 things you can go through, but it's actually then putting it in front of someone. So you can't just sit here and in a room and just think of an offer and that's it. The whole process is actually to get it in front of someone and you get feedback, whether they're like, oh, this is really something I really want. Cool, let's go and buy it. Or like, actually, it doesn't do A, B, C, and D for me. Okay. So then you can take that. And the good thing is you can then iterate it. Or if you find like, actually, this is the right person to present it to, I need to find someone else, then you got, more opportunity to go present to someone else that you might want to get feedback or work with. So I don't know about you or yourself, bro. Like, in terms of like going about, putting stuff out there that you've created, like, yeah, is there anything that you would share around the process of how to do that?
I feel like, obviously, in terms of the process, you got to think about what platforms you use to reach that target audience. And think about the type of platforms that you use, like LinkedIn, it's a little bit more professional setting, and versus Facebook and Instagram. So you might have that one product, but how you deliver that message will be different based on the platforms. And obviously, if you're using things like email marketing campaign, be careful not to spam people with your offer. Like you've got to warm people up
Mm,
before you just like show them something.
yeah.
That's where they're building that relationship. But I think for me, it's just making it clear the problem that you help solve for people.
Yeah.
Like, what's the pain point? Like for me, I always go and like I always lead with, we're from education, and we help people. Oh, sorry, we're from education, and we help businesses grow by growing their people.
Mm,
So, it's really simple. We're here to help your business grow by growing your people, right? So people already know, okay, yeah, like, and it's a given that like businesses want to upskill their staff. There's going to be issues, whether it's leadership, probably, So I don't necessarily have to deep dive on what the actual problems are, but I capture their attention and then I elaborate later, right? It's
mm,
like what you said. You just when it comes to an offer, me and my wife went in shopping for books at Wickles this week. We
yeah.
it was on our way to Tank, and I was like, "Hey, sweetheart, I'll buy you a book, any book, to help you with your personal development." So we're walking into the store. There's heaps of books on the shelves, and within 10 minutes we picked two. I mean, one each. Well, yeah, and books for our kids, but but like we didn't read the whole book from cover to cover and be like,
Mm,
okay, cool, and then make a decision. We went through, okay, we looked at the title of the book, if it stuck out, it's like, okay, cool. The title might say How to Lead or Winning Mindset. So all these books were shouting, these are the problems we solve, or this is
mm,
the offer, the solution that we offer, right? Just the cover. Then you pick up the book and you read the back of it because it gives like a summary, an overview. Okay, and then we walked out of the store. We both bought a $40 book each, right?
mhm,
But coming back to the whole point of what I'm trying to say is like, don't give everyone the full story straight away. The whole point of that is to attract and get them curious and wanting more,
mhm.
right? Like focus on that, and obviously make it clear and make it simple, your messaging, what problem you solve, because that's the value that you offer, right?
Yeah.
How you solve it is what makes you stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
That's a really good point, and I think two things there for me too in terms of my own journey is that one thing I used to do a lot is like try to give all information, like, yeah, I do this, do this, do that, and everyone's like, wow, this is like overwhelming. Like, I don't need to know all of this right now. I don't even know what you do. Okay, so dep obviously depends on what you're doing, but you know, really kind of nailing down what is it in terms of the value that you can add, and whether there be a problem that you're solving and how you have a solution for that, uh, really pays off because people get, oh well, that actually aligns with where I'm something that I want solved. I'd love to
Yeah.
talk more. The other side of that, right, is that it's not that you will get everyone. And I think that's very important distinction. Because I think one of the things that I found is that when I was like, I used to run a video agency and I used to be able to do filming and we do filming for different organizations. So the way that I used to see myself was like, we're just going to help everyone. um, and it works. But you start to realize that you could offer it to everyone, but when depending on what you're doing, it always depends on that. You can get potentially clients, but then also like charging a lot more. They don't see you as that. They see you as just simply a service to what they're doing. But if you can position yourself better as something that can actually really help an outcome that no one in the market's talking about, that you're the right person, you can actually charge a lot more as well. And that's not just because you've changed your services necessarily, it's because you've actually identified something that actually can get them to where they want to go. So when you really can lock into like what is it that we offer and how to really share that story, and it really resonates with the right people, because it won't resonate with everyone, you will start to see that not only are they interested in you, but potentially want to pay more, potentially want to work longer, because they really see value. Then obviously you have to prove that by them running the service that kind of backs it up. But this is why this whole offer and how it relates to making money, because in a lot of sense, like if you have a really great offer, you don't have to be as persuasive, you don't have to have too much things going out there to market. They help, they multiply, but if you can really know what you offer, really know that it's going to really help people and really get in front of right people, things start to happen. So I guess on that point, bro, like I guess coming to our time today around our episode, is there anything else that you would want to, I guess, share? Yeah, before we kind of head out.
Yeah, no, if you got a product and a service already, you know, I'd say practice packaging it up in a mission statement or a value statement. And in that, it's just being clear, like two or three sentences that you can memorize and even pass on to your team, exactly, the who you help, like your target audience, the problem you solve for them, how you do that, and the benefits of that as well. And then no matter what service or product that you have, everything should be coming back to adding value. Like if you've got a value statement in that, it keeps you guys and your team focused, and yourself absolutely. And the more you tell yourself, this is the problem I solve, this is the problem I solve, and the more conviction that you will have. Because, and also the other thing I would say, keep in mind, an offer can change and evolve. Don't think like what
Mhm.
Tyrone was saying earlier. So like, if you're starting a business for the first time, going off doing a side hustle or something, always keep in mind, an open mind, that your offer can change and evolve,
Yep.
because you're always looking for things to improve. Customers will give you feedback, what to improve. Like if you're not improving, you're not growing. So just keep in mind that your offer doesn't have to be perfect. Just start and do your research, gather feedback so that you can always improve the offer. And then you will find a sweet spot. And how will you know if you find the sweet spot? The sales, the money, the profits will tell you.
Yeah.
Right?
Hard out. Yeah, man. I just wanted to, yeah, share the same thing and double down on that idea of like it evolves, and I guess I shared it before is that you don't in terms of evolving, like you don't listen to everyone, right? If you've got a certain customer, a certain client that you're
Mm.
wanting to sell to, those are the ones you really want to listen to, because obviously, those ones are people that you want to help. In saying that, you might find that your product or service, someone's really asking for it, and you've never considered them as an audience. So you can shift if you want to. Okay, so there's kind of it's really a journey of yourself of discovering, okay, this is something that I can offer to someone out there, and then you make decisions based on what you get back and also who you listen to. But you can shift who you want to help as well, and I think it's really important because um, I do want to say that a lot of people, when people start, we focus on who can we just help around us, which is great, but sometimes you've got something that can really help people that have got some big pockets and really want to help you. Now it's your decision whether you want to go there or not, but it's very easy to go, this is all I want to help, which you could, and I recommend that as someone that does it myself. But also realize that you might be talking to people like, really, I want you, and you're like, oh, I don't help you. Like you might be like, these guys are saying they want help, and I've heard four others say they want help. Is it something that I might want to look into as well? So yeah, just kind of sharing
Yeah.
that you have options on how you can evolve what you
Yeah.
offer.
And I'll also say one last thing, if I may. Um, think about this. These times are tough, man. It's very competitive. There's going to be a huge wave of people going out doing entrepreneurship. And I feel like multiplication, or sorry, I believe that collaboration is multiplication,
Mm,
meaning partner with people. This is what me and Tyrone are doing. We both
yep.
have separate businesses that offer different value, different solutions to different target audience or similar target audience as well. But we've decided to come together because we feel like we can do more by combining our resources, combining our networks, and our strengths as well. And we complement each other. Like, he's got strengths I don't have, and vice versa,
Mhm.
which makes it even better. So I would say, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, meet with people who you want to work with or who do something similar in your space that you could potentially partner with. Understand what value they offer. Get them to understand yours as well. Right? This is my service. This is what I do. These are the people I help. This is the problem I solve. So that when they're out there, they're sharing the value. They're helping
Harder.
you spread your service, your business, right? Especially if it's someone that trusts you and likes you, build relationships. So I would say, don't just, part of evolving your offer is maybe working with other people, and don't be shy. If you put an offer out there and you may like, I'm not making any money, I have to increase my price or do this or change my value, like, do it, right? Just keep in mind, like, if this is your first offer ever, right? Test it out. Just have that
Yeah.
mentality. I'm going to test if this value offer is actually adding value to the client and actually adding value to my bottom line.
Yep.
And don't be afraid to make those changes if you need to. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it
Yeah.
from me.
Awesome, awesome. And I just, yeah, I think you've now set me off, but I do want to talk into, I guess, evidence around collaboration and partnership. Obviously, we see it, but like even more explicit is food chains. There's a thing called the cafe theory that cafes usually are by each other, and the reason is because they obviously would want to get all their customers coming to them, but if you're collaborating or you buy people that are similar vein and you understand what they're doing, these chances are that they might come work for you or go work or go there as well. So cafe theory is that there's heaps of cafes. They're going to pick one that they want to go to, similar to partnerships. If you're working with people that have other things that they do that are maybe in similar spaces and places, they can help
Mm,
share your story, but also, they can also be funnels to work for yourself and then hopefully vice versa, helping them out as well. So yeah, just wanted to double down on that. But yeah, this was a bit of a change of tack today, so hopefully people enjoyed this. And if you want to see more of this, please let us know. Me and Pussy are like what we're saying around our offers. This is our podcast. We're putting it out there, seeing what people are vibing with, and then we're just making those adjustments as we go. But we can say now that we do have our name, which is Entrepreneur's Edge. Uh, Pretty much Pussy's already had this going, and I think it was just an awesome name for myself and wanted to see be a part of. So it's called Entrepreneur's Edge. We're going to be building upon our brand, and please, we're going to have a website set up for you guys to sign up. We're going to add hopefully more value, especially if you're a business owner out there, entrepreneur wanting to learn, how you can stay ahead, and especially win at this game called business. So yeah, when we got that all up and running, please sign up, and we'll have even more content to share with you, and yeah, go from there. So yeah, that's
love
me.
it. Awesome. Don't forget to follow and subscribe, Fano. We got your back. Love it.
Yep, that's us.